someone like Woody Allen, um, Alan Scorsese. I don't, he often talks about having watched some films from some of the Italian neorealist masters, and while there are some vague similarities, the tone of the films are so much different that just because you have a pan of the camera in Mean Streets or in Goodfellas that vaguely resembles something in a Fellini film, uh, it isn't really that much of an influence. Woody Allen certainly did take some Fellini and Bergman, but he generally improved on the things that he took. Um, uh, Orson Welles was someone who is sort of a jack of all trades. He was, in many ways, he could make a great film for more different ways than anyone did, without money, working over 10 or 15 years. The European filmmakers, I think, had the backing of their governments. A lot of the film companies were nationalized, even in Western Europe. So it was less dependent upon even big backers like a Dino De Laurentiis. Cinecittà, the Italian film mecca in the mid 20th century, was still something that I think was founded by the fascists when Mussolini was in power. Uh, all of Bergman's films were funded by Svensk Film Industry, which was, I think, funded by the Swedish government. Even the Japanese film companies, which I don't think were funded by the government, were much more director oriented. Kurosawa and Ozu and Mizoguchi and Kobayashi and the great 60s Japanese film directors all were thought of as the primary artists, whereas uh, most directors in Hollywood studio system were artists for hire. It wasn't until Wells broke away and had to become an independent in a sense, and then Cassavetes did that. Then John Sayles did that, following up on them. Woody Allen and Kubrick had enough success that they could, within the system, be the de facto independents. But so I think the Europeans generally had a much easier time getting their quote unquote vision on screen because they had the backing of their governments and the backing of the film industries that recognized that they were artists. This is one of the great things that is wrong with American culture, is that we don't value the arts. Now, I've said that it shouldn't that the government, American government, shouldn't fund the arts, and I still believe that. But I think that there should be ways to facilitate rich people from individually funding individuals. Let's say, for example, if someone came along and found Cosmoetica or my YouTube channel and said, Dan, I've been impressed with your. Maybe they couldn't recognize I was a great poet or a great writer, but you're doing great things with your interviews. You're enlivening the discussion out there. I want to fund you. Well, the government should allow for that, and should people should be able to do tax write-offs. And I think that's a better funding way to get great art out there, because and I've said this before. Jessica and I, no matter what we've accomplished, it's only going to be a portion of what we could have accomplished had we not had the day-to-day worries of feeding ourselves, and if we get injured, having to go to a hospital or something. To take that kind of worry away. But again, it also has to be something on a string. You can't just give someone a 20-year free ride and they don't produce. Maybe they produce for the first 3, 4, 5 years, but then 15 years they're not doing. No, you have to have those carrots hanging out there. And certainly, uh, 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 to a certain degree, even those industries, those film industries in countries, were still expecting to make some money. It wasn't the primary thing, but it would be good to at least break even. So Kurosawa lost a lot of backing later on in his career. He sort of fell out of favor after Redbeard, his '65 film, which is a great film. So that's the basic difference between the world filmmakers that I've seen. Is not so much it's not so much their world approach or their philosophy, so much it is that they had a lot more support to get out whatever it is they wanted to get out.